You joined over 100 protesters outside the governor's mansion after the announcement that Governor Pillen and the state of Nebraska is partnering with President Trump's Immigration and Customs Enforcement to build a detention facility at a state prison in McCook.
I was trying to sow support for our immigrant community. That was the absolute goal. I prefer that we have policy and not punishment to try to work out the issues with the immigrants that are in our country. Making a change with our detention center in McCook, that is absolutely the wrong path, and I don't support it.
You know, President Trump said that the new facility in Nebraska would help ICE agents, quote, remove the worst of the worst. We've heard that phrase over and over again, despite the governor, confusingly, explaining it would house only low-level and medium-risk immigration-related detainees. Have you learned anything about who will be housed at that detention facility out in McCook?
Actually, the legislature hasn't been given a lot of information about the details yet. What scares me is that is a good question. Who's going to be placed there? It really is a question that needs to be answered and should be answered up front.
Well, Governor Pillen, when asked last week if children would be housed at this new facility out in McCook, he said, quote, I'm not a politician, so I haven't thought about that question and haven't asked that question. I think his answer confused a lot of people. First of all, well, you are a politician, Governor, and it is your job to know those answers. And your reaction to the governor's response to that question?
I'm not going to be as kind as you are in that respect, because if you're making a decision like that, you should have the answers to those questions. And you shouldn't be proceeding or committing our facilities unless you know the answers to those important questions up front. The legislature would provide oversight for this facility. It is in the Constitution that the penal facilities are one of the areas that we have oversight in. I absolutely don't believe that the federal government is going to cover 100% of the costs. It'd be interesting for somebody to continue to follow the numbers there. A great task for our auditor, like he audits all of our other agencies, right? Don't get me wrong, like everyone else, I realize that we need to have immigration laws in place that are going to work for our country. But it is so complex in trying to deal with the current population that we have. It's just mind-boggling. Are some people who have been here for many years.
Yeah, they're part of our community. Yeah.
Exactly. They have families here. They have assets here, children in school, contracts that they've signed. The economic aspects here are complex. And to think that we're just going to remove people and that there not be consequences, I think is very naive.